The fifth habit of a good life insurance guy is to determine the right underwriting class. This is probably the one that most people really mess up because they take the application and they send it in to a carrier and they don't really know about that carrier's underwriting guidelines. And if you don't get the right underwriting class, you're overpaying for your insurance. Well, I guess if they make a mistake and give you too good of a rating class, then you're underpaying and you're really made out. But more often than not, if you make a mistake in underwriting, you're going to overpay for your insurance for the rest of your life.
So how does an average person know what underwriting class that they're in?
They don't.
So how can you manage that?
So a good life insurance guy will do an informal application. So we'll get you to sign a HIPAA release, and then my team will go out and get all your medical records ahead of time, and we collect them. And then I have an underwriter who reviews them and summarizes them. And then based on what we see in your medical records and all the questions that you've answered, we kind of know
where you should be. And not just, we know where you should be, but more importantly, we know which carriers are going to look favorably upon you if you smoke a cigar. We know which carriers look favorably upon you if you're a little bit too short for your weight. Okay, we're gonna know which carriers look most favorably on family history, and sometimes we don't know. So in those cases, we take the informal underwriting package and we send it to 3, 4, 5 carriers, and we say, if Mrs. Weinberg here were to apply with your company for insurance, what underwriting class would you give her? And so we have 3 or 4 or 5 carriers all going through an informal underwriting process where their real underwriter looks at it, and they'll say, well, if you apply, we would give you a standard. Right.
Or if you apply, we'll give you a preferred. But more often than not, on those are cases where the people are older and where they do have ailments, and they'll say, tentatively standard, here's the issues we need more data on. And it's a process. So
but you have to understand, have a life insurance person that advises you based on having a fundamental understanding of generally what class you should be in.
Yeah, but
based on your data.
But guess what? I don't claim to know that. So I tell myself over and over again, Chris, you are not an amateur underwriter. I'm gonna get that data, I'm gonna submit it, and I'm gonna let the experts look at it, and then they're gonna tell me where you fit in and where you fall.
Got it.
And most people don't do that. And it's a lot of work, but it's really worth it in the long run. It can make the difference between a compound annual growth or return on your money of 0 or less %, where you'd be better off if you put it in a bank, or designing the right policy, getting the right underwriting class, managing it correctly, paying the right amount of premium every year. Even out to life expectancy and beyond, you can get a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% compound annual growth rate. Because if you do everything right, 7 habits of a good insurance guy, do everything right, you can get a very reasonable return on your money, even if you live a long time.